This is Middle East Matters here on France 24. I'm Hala Mohideen, bringing you the best of our reporting from across the region. Coming up in today's show, we'll bring you a special report from Jarablus, the Syrian town recently liberated from the Islamic State group, though life remains hard for its residents. As the Iraqi army gears up for a final assault on Mosul, we take a look at the role the French army is playing. And the problem weighing heavy on 62% of Egyptians. We'll take a look at the country's obesity crisis. But first to Syria, where the world has been holding its breath as a tentative ceasefire was brokered between the US and Russia. NGOs are now trying to get as much humanitarian aid into the country as they can before the ceasefire shatters like so many before. However, it isn't just Aleppo in need of assistance. Towns like Jarablus near the Turkish border, only recently freed from IS control, remain in desperate situations, as Fatma Kizilboga and Pascal Davis report.
The road to Jarablus, a Syrian town freed from the Islamic State group's hold just 3 weeks ago. And the sound of joy from the holy festival of Eid fills the streets. An unimaginable scene as fighters from the Free Syrian Army welcome us.
I'm here. 4 years ago I was forced to leave, and just 2 days ago I returned. Thank heavens.
Happiness spreads across the faces of these children, thanks to toys sent to them from Turkish officials. But it's a short-lived joy, and many will leave empty-handed and with a broken heart. Because these scenes of celebration are a rare sight in Jarablus. Basic necessities are rare.
We want water, electricity. Humanitarian aid isn't distributed evenly. It doesn't reach everyone.
A situation made worse by the return of some refugees who have claimed back their occupied homes.
The people from Jarablus have returned and they want to come after us. They're asking the people who've come from the surrounding towns to leave the homes they've been staying in. The different military factions don't care about our problems.
That's because the Free Syrian Army's push on the Islamic State group in the south of the country is taking longer than expected, meaning the FSA is now relying more than ever on the support of the Turkish army.
Long live our president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. May God protect him. God willing, he'll be the Turkish president and also the Syrian one too.
Fully aware of the struggle ahead, the Free Syrian Army hopes to recruit more soldiers, even if they're very young.
Now, the Iraqi army is readying for a final assault on Mosul. It's one of the largest cities under control of the Islamic State group. But the Iraqi Prime Minister insists the terror group's reign will soon come to an end. This newfound confidence comes from advanced preparations with the help of the French army.
We're somewhere in Baghdad. The location of this military base must remain a secret. High concrete walls surround it, topped with barbed wire. The camp spreads over several kilometers. This is where a handful of French soldiers have been training thousands of Iraqis in the fight against the Islamic State group. Faces have been blurred and their names changed for security reasons. Sergeant Major Alban is here showing how Iraqi recruits should respond in an ambush. They're drilling to help their colleagues should they come under fire from the extremists.
They're learning how to react in a close-quarters ambush. I've been showing them several options, so on D-Day they'll be able to put them into action.
But it's not that simple, and some Iraqi soldiers are already questioning themselves.
Imagine if I was in the trench and the enemy was bombing us. I wouldn't even be able to raise my head to position my weapon.
Explosives are behind 80% of the deaths here. Suicide bombers, detonated gas cylinders, water bottles filled with explosives, or even booby-trapped doorsteps. The recruits are learning just some of the Islamic State group's methods of attack.
They use a drip, a syringe with a ball inside, and when you press on the bag, the syringe rises and sets off the charge.
The Iraqis are also learning how to enter a booby-trapped house.
You never advance on your own. And you cover your friend like this. And you advance while watching the window. Point your weapon at the roof.
Former labourers, students or taxi drivers, they're new to soldiering and mistakes are common. It'll take solid training to become like these elite soldiers. They may know war well, but they too are here to hone their skills. Their French mentors won't be joining them on the battlefield, however. They're advisors, not fighters. Training resumes, this time with live ammunition.
Go, 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 go!
They've got less than 5 minutes to incapacitate the extremists, search all the rooms and gather intelligence. The recruits start by taking photos. A French soldier is by their side throughout.
This one good. No good, because we can't see the numbers.
Anything could provide them with precious information about the enemy. Telephones, USB keys, or of course any computers seized. Carrying out these exercises, spending so much time together creates a sense of camaraderie between the French and Iraqi soldiers.
Tomorrow morning we will run together. Very good. All together. Push up. After push up. After. Very good.
It's a bond between troops in a time of war, which can only help in the fight against the Islamic State group.
To Israel now, where a political storm is brewing over the country's transport network. A new high-speed rail link connecting Tel Aviv and Jerusalem is pitting the country's secularists against the hardline religious fundamentalists, with Benjamin Netanyahu's popularity cratering. Luke Shrego and Shirley Sitbon have this report.
It should change the face of Israeli rail travel. For the first time, a new high-speed train line's being built between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, cutting travel time in half.
In total, we are talking about 36 kilometers of tunnels, 6 kilometers of bridges. The total cost is 7 billion shekels. And as I mentioned before, we are going to meet the target March 18.
It means the country's two largest cities will be just 30 minutes travel from each other. For some, it's an exciting proposition.
This is a unique project. The historical point of view, it's very special to us with our old history and close history to connect Jerusalem to the rest of the country of Israel.
However, others see chaos ahead. Train renovation across Israel's triggered major political turmoil in recent weeks, a battle between secular and religious politicians. It all started when religious parties within the government coalition demanded work be suspended on Saturdays, a sacred day in Judaism called Shabbat. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agreed and blocked construction and maintenance on all lines, allowing it to resume after the Sabbath. The only problem, construction resumed at rush hour, leaving tens of thousands of commuters stranded.
People wake up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work and find out when they get to the station there are no trains. What is this?
Netanyahu blamed his transport minister, Israel Katz, saying he shouldn't have scheduled work on Saturdays.
Ministers are appointed to prevent crises, to resolve problems, not create them.
Surveys, though, show the public feels Netanyahu himself is responsible for the chaos because he cancelled operations at the last minute due to pressure from his Orthodox allies. Opinion polls show his support rating has dropped, making secular party Yesh Atid leader Yair Lapid the most popular party leader.
Now, she was the stalwart of Egyptian broadcasting, but Khadija Khattab was suspended from her job for being too fat. Khattab was one of 8 female newsreaders pulled from the air and ordered to go on a diet. Well, the controversial decision provoked outcry, but channel bosses say that desperate times call for desperate measures. This report from our team in Cairo looks at the deadly obesity crisis enveloping Egypt.
For 25 years, she was one of the best-known faces of Egyptian television. But in August, Khadija was fired because of her weight.
They told me I had a month to slim down, and then they would decide if I'm still overweight. But considering my age, I think it's perfectly normal to be a bit out of shape. As far as I'm concerned, I've got nothing to worry about.
According to the World Health Organization, 62% of the Egyptian population is overweight and a third is obese. Health professionals have raised the alarm. They say the main cause of obesity is junk food and bad eating habits.
A lot of my patients have emotional eating problems. A lot of people eat because of stresses. They are stressed at long hours of work, they have relationship problems, they have problems with their parents. So this is another contributing factor that seems to be increasing.
Only 2% of Egyptians take part in sport and physical activity. Sugary snacks are everywhere, available in kiosks and food carts around the country.
It's the people's food. It allows you to keep going all day, and especially at work.
Obesity has a negative impact not only on public health, but also on the economy.
1 out of 10 Egyptians have diabetes, and that's the problem that needs to be addressed. Because when you have health problems, like basic health problems, because you're obese and you have heart problems, diabetes, you cannot perform well. This is a big problem. This affects our productivity as a nation, and it affects the whole community.
Obesity is no longer considered a first world problem. It's now also affecting developing countries, and particularly countries in the Middle East.
Well, that's it from me and the Middle East Matters team. Do stay with us here on France 24. News headlines are up next.